2024 has been a weird year for tech. At least it's weird for somebody like me. And I'd have to label 2024 as the year that Apple continues to get out-Appled. And nothing really demonstrates that more than the Samsung Buds 3 Pro, a product that has shaken bedrock foundational assumptions that I've made about my own personal tech ecosystem. And to a lesser extent, the Snapdragon-powered Microsoft Surface laptops also belong in this category, but that already has its own series of videos. Long story short, these are literally the best headphones I've ever owned. Hands down, it's not even close. And before you get suspicious and looking for ulterior motives about an Apple guy saying these are the best things ever, look, nobody is sponsoring this video. I paid for these myself, and what's crazy is I only bought these because I got them bundled with my watch and the Z Flip for less money. And so you understand the scenarios in which I've used these headphones over the past couple of weeks. I've put in over 50 miles of running. I was training for a marathon before getting injured a few days ago. I've worn these for about another 50 miles of road biking. I bought a bike to let me keep working out even though I'm injured, and I had to take a trip necessitating an airplane flight. So why are these the best? Two main reasons, the twin Fs, if you will: fit and function. I wanted to say price, but that didn't start with an F, and these are not cheap, so not price. The first F, fit. Part of the allure here is that these are the most comfortable in-ear headphones that I've ever worn. They are very similar in shape to AirPods Pro. In fact, most of the online discourse has been about how staggeringly similar these are to Apple's product. Either way, the shape of the headphones and the ear cups fits perfectly in my ear. And yes, this will absolutely be a personal thing for different people. We all have different shaped bodies, and ears are part of your body. But the real magic for the fit for me is the shape of the, I guess you'd call it the stem. Where AirPods have a rounded stem, these are triangular. Why this is so good, and this is really the killer feature for these, it makes it so easier to adjust the headphones and adjust the use of the headphones on the fly. That on-stem functionality is made much more easy because of this. And I certainly, believe me, I did not appreciate this until I went on my first run, but that little bit more leverage you get from the flat surface, it shaves away friction. That's important when you want to move the headphones around in your ear to get a better fit, but this also becomes way more important when we talk about function here in a few minutes. I'm going to include the rest of the case in the fit section of the video because I didn't know exactly where else to put it. The headphone case is also perfectly good. Nothing earth-shattering. In fact, if you didn't have this see-through spot on the top, you'd probably assume this was an AirPods Pro case. It's actually pretty impressive just how much they copied from Apple's homework here, though. From the look of the hinge on the back to the LED smack dab in the middle. Aside from the plagiarism adjacent design, it works perfectly well. I do really like the little lights on the stems. You're definitely not going to be able to see that. I like this when you set the headphones down or open up the case. I'm a sucker for the small things. Compared to Samsung's previous headphone case, this is way better. You might remember me complaining about pairing on the other buds to different devices, where you have to do this game of inserting the buds into your ear, then long pressing and hoping you get the pairing option to trigger. That was super frustrating and pretty much a deal breaker on the older ones. Here you have a pretty standard little button on the bottom that controls pairing and other ancillary functions. And it's right next to the USB-C port. Moving over to function, this is where the real magic happens. Like I said, I did some air travel recently, and for me, noise-canceling headphones are a requirement for flying on a plane. I mean, big, capitalize R in requirements. Maybe I'm sensitive to noise, but that low roar that happens the entire flight, it just wears me out by the time we land. I used to be physically exhausted by the time my plane ride was over, and I'm not exaggerating. Like it exhausts me. The first time I put on a pair of Sony WH-1000X3 headphones, my life changed. Thankfully though, anymore you don't need the big over-the-ear headphones. We have smaller options, and normally I always travel with my AirPods Pro 2, and it kind of surprises me looking back on it. I took a pretty big risk that, sight unseen, I just threw these in my bag, and I didn't even bring an emergency backup set of AirPods in case these were terrible. Now, I can't tell if the noise canceling is better or worse than the AirPods Pro 2. It's kind of hard to tell when you can't have both on at the same time. But it's good enough to fly on a plane, and that, without hyperbole, is the highest praise that I can give a set of headphones. Sound quality is fine. I am not the person to tell you specific technical information on how these sound or why it sounds that way, but the dorky video game music that I listen to on repeat sounded perfectly fine both inside and outside of the plane. Also, when running, no issue at all with sound quality. But okay, it's not all perfect though. I did have problems in one specific realm, which is weird The only time I did have sound quality issues was doing yard work. The noise canceling algorithm Samsung uses in the Buds 3 Pro apparently just it can't stand up to my weed whacker. That's not a meme or suggestive substitution of words. When weed whacking around my backyard fence, these went crazy and I had to swap for regular ear protection. So if you are a landscape professional, probably don't get these. A thing about the function of these headphones that blows me away, it's just how much better than AirPods these are to control them from the stem of the bud. You can raise or lower volume, pause, start music or video, and you can turn on and off the noise cancellation all with the gestures on the stem. Yes, the AirPods can do that, but the space for the swipe is very small on the AirPods, and the rounded shape of the stem makes it hard to do if you aren't perfectly sitting or standing still. And I get it. Like, that sounds like a nitpick. It sounds like I'm making up things to complain about the AirPods because I'm making a video about these, but I'm serious. I spend a lot of time running, and I know I've said that a lot. The brutal heat and humidity of this summer, I've started running with a water hydration belt. I keep my phone in the big pocket. It's like a big fanny pack I'm always wearing. Well, it absolutely sucks if I'm wearing AirPods and my volume is too low or too high. I don't want to stop running because I'm running, right? And then trying to finagle the AirPods, it does not work very well. So I'll try to find the volume rocker on my phone through the pouch to change. And yes, that's a me problem. I get it. That is a me problem. I'm sure somebody out there is also an avid runner and constantly uses the AirPods volume controls. But for me, they suck. I cannot get them to work consistently. Here, I can dial it right in from the headphone without looking like a weirdo running around grabbing my fanny pack while I'm going through the neighborhood. And what makes this even easier is the shape of the stem. See, I told you we'd talk about this again. The shape of this, because it's a triangle and you get right angles, it gives you enough leverage to dial that function in very easily. It's hard, right? There's no way to properly describe this unless you've tried to use the AirPod gestures before and have had problems and need just a little bit more grasp to make it work. Everything's fine if you're sitting still or you're not moving, but you just have to trust me, the triangle is the superior shape in this instance. And because of that functionality, I use these with my iPhone, no problem. I was kind of nervous that these would only be good with a Galaxy phone, but they perfectly pair with my 15 Pro Max just as fast and seamless as my AirPod. Now, it doesn't do Apple-specific things like device handoff, but I've started using a Surface and a custom PC for my computing, so I don't need them to transfer devices. Battery life is also a part of function, and it's been pretty good. Long days traveling for both work and family trips haven't dented the usefulness of these buds for me. Samsung says 30 hours of life on their website, and yeah, okay, that's good enough for me. I always have some kind of USB-C charging cable on me anyway, so 30 hours, it's good to know I haven't had a single issue with battery life. Look, I could stretch this video out by rambling or showing more examples, but I think I've covered all the major points. Would I recommend the Samsung Buds 3 Pro? Yes, absolutely. These are, without a doubt, the best headphones I've ever owned and have totally replaced my AirPods, except when I'm doing yard work. These have such simple additions on top of what Apple headphones provide, but they're just so easy, they're so simple, I love them. $249 is not cheap. I can't lie and say otherwise. That's very expensive for in-ear headphones, but you could combine these as an add-on to other Samsung devices and save money, or Samsung has a fantastic trade-in program, so you can find lots of ways to save money and not spend that pretty steep MSRP, but I do recommend that because these are fantastic. What about you though? Have you tried the Samsung Buds 3 Pro? What do you think, good or bad? I'm not the only arbiter of how good these are. Let us all know in the comments below. And if you like this video, click here to see the Samsung watch that also surprised me. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.